A spectacular performance. Curry from half court.
Sometimes, something looks like it's been there a while.
We are here, the 3 Points Podcast. Today we're missing the third member of our group. Thomas is unfortunately not able to make it. He and his family on this long weekend, Veterans Day long weekend, they are in Yosemite. So no data, no connection. He chose Yosemite over the podcast. We know where his loyalties lie.
Can't believe it.
I can't believe it's shocking. But we're here after the last week. We've went through 3 games. The Warriors played against the Celtics first. Then the Warriors played against the Cavs. And then they played against the OKC Thunder. We're going to go one by one each game, talk about our thoughts, just a little bit of an analysis. And we're currently 2-1 after that. And we are, knock on wood, in the Western Conference, the first seed.
Yeah.
It's beautiful sights. We didn't need Clay. Wes, you sent a text earlier in the chat. You want to talk about that text?
Yeah, I said no Clay, no Poole, no KD, and we're still the number 1 seed. So if we just need the foundation, which is Steph and Draymond, and then beyond that, you kind of just build a solid team, and you can expect great things from that. So
absolutely,
that's kind of what I said.
110%. I think the last 2 years with Clay have been they were tough. Like, I'm not obviously gonna do what like other fans are doing, which is again, it's just casual, right? Where, oh man, Clay, boo,
You can trash him. You can trash him. He's gone now. He's gone.
Oh, man. I have the utmost respect for Clay. Yeah, I think the last 2 years are really annoying with him, 2023 and 2024. But you still cannot forget, obviously, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And even
yeah.
in 21, obviously 2021, he was injured. But him coming out when he tore his Achilles in the 2019 finals, like those boys wanted that three-peat, right? So you can't forget that as a real fan, right?
Yeah.
However, with that being said, do I still think like him wanting that bag was annoying? Yeah, it was really annoying. Like, come on, dog. However, it was a blessing in disguise, right? So it worked out for the best of us. But that's kind of what you were saying. So let's just get straight into it. We're gonna start with the first game in chronological order: the Warriors versus the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
The Warriors won that in 118 to 112. Some flashy players, not flashy players, players who played well. Steph, 27 points. Wiggins, 16. I just gotta pause and give a shout out to Andrew Wiggins. In this stretch, he is kind of back. I've been noticing he's been more aggressive. He's been hitting his shots a little bit. He still do that occasional like miss a layup, and you'll be like, "Dog, you just hit like some really like crazy bumping into someone with like an inch of space floater," but then you proceed to miss like a bump
dunk
off with an open lay, yeah, or like a dunk. It's so that is a little bit annoying. But in the last 3 games, Wiggins against the Celtics, 16, and then the rest not really great. But 0 for 3 from downtown, but 6 for 14 from the field. Free throws 4 for 6. Against the Cavs, Wiggins was
12 points,
11,
but he had 18
not that
against
great.
OKC.
But against OKC, he did have 18. And not to discredit him against the Cavs, no one played well against the Cavs. Obviously, for the fans at home, we got demolished. A little bit of foreshadowing, but Wiggins has played well in 2 out of 3 of the games. Some other notable shout outs against the Celtics. Trace Jackson Davis, he's dropped in a little bit of points. He's added his little 8. Moody with 9. 1 for 2 from downtown. Kuminga, 10 points. This wasn't his like super great game. Healed, cooling down a little bit. 16 points, 4 for 7 from downtown, 6 for 11 overall, but plus minus 20. So positive impact on the floor. Wes, what was your takeaway from the Celtics game?
I mean, I feel like the biggest difference between Wiggins lately has been like defensively, he's like way more engaged, which I mean, like that is why he was so damn good that one year in the championship years, because he was like one of the best perimeter defenders on the planet. Like in that championship run, he defended like Luka, Ja, and then like Tatum / Jaylen Brown in the finals, which is like, you kind of need guys like that to have that championship ceiling. Like you can have Steph and Draymond all you want, but like you need those like solid perimeter defenders, and he he's definitely contributing to our number one seed potential right now. Obviously, offensively, he's kind of like hit or miss. I mean, like the Cavs game, nobody played well, but he was like really like aggressively bad. But he does
Yep.
also have those games where he is hitting his shots, so it's kind of hit or miss. But that's kind of the story for him. I don't know. I think the Celtics, it's definitely a solid win, but they were not at full strength. I think like Jaylen Brown, like, that's why he's low key underrated because like Jason Tatum, I think is their best player, but Jaylen Brown definitely gives him like an element of like inside presence. Like he's way more aggressive than Jason Tatum is, like interior wise, which is like where Andrew Wiggins would be challenged a little more with the like Jaylen Brown pressuring the inside. But I think it's still a very solid win. Like they had their guard depth, like Drew Holiday, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. They were basically full health, and we still kind of controlled the game for the most part. So that was definitely a good showing, and I'm proud of our boys out there in Boston.
One thing I'd like to note out is that points in the paint, we had 52 points to their 36. So we had literally 16 more points in the paint. Now, I think an obvious reason for that was obviously KP's not there. Al Horford was also not there. And they're using, I think it's a new center, right? Or no, I think there's this one new center they're using. People have been talking about him a lot. They've been saying like, oh, maybe he could get like a solidified role on the team now. What's his name?
Is it
I think Keita, right?
Neemias Queta.
Neemias Queta, right? 7 foot, 25-year-old from Portugal. Ooh, from Portugal. Shout out Ronaldo. Did he get drafted or what's his deal?
Oh, I have
Let's
no
see.
idea.
2021 second round, 39th overall pick.
Yeah,
Interesting.
pretty solid. Yeah, but I feel like it's kind of interesting. Like all these, like OKC and Boston, they both have like they were everybody's like projected number one seed in each conference, but they just have like health issues all the time. Like KP and now Chet are like they're not going to be the number one seed, and they don't have that championship potential without their best guys out there. And like as good as the other guys are, like Shea and then Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, as good as those guys are, without that like unstoppable potential, they're just not as good as other teams. Not as good as us, I don't think.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Those injuries are tough, right? Which is why also I'm a little bit hesitant to kind of wear that first seed banner just yet, just because it's like, again, we beat the Celtics, so they were obviously undermanned. You don't have Brown, you don't have KP, you don't have Al Horford.
Al Horford
critical pieces.
He played
he was?
Yeah, he played like 30 minutes.
My fault.
But like KP and Jaylen Brown, they were not there. So
you are. Why did I think Al Horford did not play? Maybe did he not play in a different game? Can I like get some points from that?
He played like 30 minutes. Played like a solid.
No, he played the whole freaking game. I don't know what I was waffling about. But they didn't have. Regardless, they didn't have Jaylen Brown, and they didn't also have KP, which are two critical pieces to their championship squad, right? So we won. We also did win. Like we controlled the game. Like it wasn't like a last minute, oh my god, who's gonna win? No, I confidently felt like, yo, we have this game. We should not lose this game, right? I also did. I'll say some of the stats for the Celtics players. I didn't say any of them. Show some love there. Tatum, 32 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Keita, which I was talking about, 14 points, 2 blocks, and 8 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds, which is huge. And then Derek White, oh my god, 26 points, 7 for 16 from 3. This guy is actually so good. He is so good. I really want him to get an All-Star. I really hope he continues his form, because if anyone deserves it, it's him, bro. It's unbelievable. I think another player that I would say did deserve it, not anymore because he just fell off a cliff, Jamal Murray. I think it's about time where maybe it's looking like the injuries have taken kind of a permanent toll on him, which is a shame because, dude, in 2022, he was crazy. He was crazy to watch. So shout out Derek White. Tatum continuing that sneaky MVP pick. I was listening to the Numbers on the Board podcast. That's what I say, Through the Wire. They were. I think Kenny was talking about how Tatum is currently the best player on prior to this game, the best team. So, hey, like, what's up with that, right? What are we talking about MVP, right? That that's got to give him something because I think, unfortunately for Tatum, he's fallen in this like kind of hole where, unfortunately, he's kind of like the damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like if he doesn't play
Yeah,
well, people are like, there you go. And then if he plays well, it's like, okay, finally. But
yeah. But
if
he's
he's playing
definitely
well, yeah,
he's
go
one of
ahead.
the best players out there. I mean, like
For sure.
I think he's so underrated at this point. Like he's done a lot, but he's not. He doesn't have like the flashy highlights. Although I guess people just don't really like that he shoots a lot of threes, which he does. Like I would prefer if he went inside more, but he does have the shot sometimes. Like he shot 5 of 10
Yes.
against us, which is like a pretty good showing. But it's just like play style. I think that people don't really like how he plays. So
Yeah, I also think unfortunately like his
the aura,
PR, his
yeah,
aura, like his PR is really bad. Like
or his lack of aura.
his lack of massive aura because obviously has none. Whatever
Yeah,
that means, right? Aura. I can't believe it. We're using these terms unironically. Like and we're analyzing the game. We're analyzing Jason Tatum's game in 2024. And we're saying he has lack of aura.
yeah, yeah.
But everyone knows what that word means, and yeah, he does. He's a cornball. However, you kind of said he's underrated, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. I don't know if a Thomas would agree with that now. Maybe he would now, but
I don't think
prior,
so.
I know in the past, like last year and the year before that, he'd be like, man, he is overrated. He's an overrated superstar. I disagree with that now. I think now he is definitely underrated. So shout out JT. Keep doing what you're doing, dog. But we won that. Yeah, the Celtics are undermanned, but hey, we won that away from home. Um, the
I mean, you play who you
Celtics.
play out
Yeah,
there. So like, if they're injured, then it's not our fault. We were healthy, so we
agreed.
just play who we
Agreed.
play.
Exactly. And we played well. It was one
Yeah.
of the only few games where we had good free throw percentage. This is another issue I've been noticing. Our free throw percentages are abysmal. They're
Yeah,
so bad. Which I guess it makes sense, right? Because we don't really have super good shooters outside
and just
of
like Steph, he's like the
Steph and
only
Heald.
great. Yeah.
Other than
But
those two,
like,
because look, okay, Kaminga, not very good shooter overall, like super consistent. He's not very consistent. Wiggins, not very consistent. Obviously, Draymond, not.
Cameron's low
Pause, not
key.
consistent.
He's probably like our third best, which is not saying a lot.
Like free throw
But
or
yeah,
3 point?
free throw. Just like I don't know, I mean,
What is,
none of our guys are consistent enough except Steph and
yeah, which
Fields.
is a
So
problem, man. It's a big problem because free throws are one of those things where you could improve. You can
yeah,
literally improve free throws because it's under pressure. Free throws are different. Like I get that, right? Like I remember, I don't know if you remember. You probably do. Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, he got fouled in a three. He had to hit like, each free throw. This is in the playoffs last season or a year before that, and I remember, and he hit all three. Those type of free throws different. I agree because that under
yeah,
pressure. But when it's the second quarter, 5 minutes left. It's like a
make your free
5 point
throws.
game.
Yeah,
Make your freaking free throws, bro. It's a practice. It's the most fundamental shot. There's
yeah,
no
yeah,
excuse not to be able to hit your free throws. It's the biggest critique on Shaq. You could have just put in the hours. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's disappointing that and that will cost us games. The Rockets, right? We freaking fell.
Almost, yeah,
We almost lost. We had to go to OT because we couldn't hit our free throws. You know what I mean? It's really disappointing. It's
yeah,
18 free points that we missed that game, right? So against the Celtics, we were 83.3%, which hey, that's great. But if you look against the Thunder, our free throw was 69%,
and they almost came
69.6.
back. We could have had
Yeah,
like a nicer buffer against them, but they almost came back. It was like a 9 point game with like 2 minutes
literally,
left. It didn't have to be that
literally.
way.
It didn't. Against the
Yeah,
Cavs, 71.4%. We missed fourth free throws, which again is not horrible. We just didn't get to the line often.
yeah,
We'll get to that in a second. But against the Thunder, we missed 7 free throws. That's 7 points. That's 7 full points. It's a huge question. Okay, we don't have to be 100% from downtown, but okay, can we make 5 of the 7, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's been a problem for sure. I'm noticing as well. So that was the Celtics, and now let's move on to the unfortunate part of the 3 game stretch, the Cavs.
Yeah.
Without stats and stuff, I guess I almost called you Steph. Wes, what do
Hey man.
you? What's your kind of reactions from the game?
I mean, my main takeaway from the Cavs game is that it was kind of like a trap game. Like it's an away game, and the Cavs are playing like the best team in the league. Like they don't have the best talent, but they're like I don't know if they're still undefeated, but they at least were undefeated when
They
we
are.
played them.
They are
They're
still
playing,
undefeated.
yeah, they're playing like the best basketball in the league right now, above the OKC Thunder, above the Celtics, above like everyone basically. So it is kind of a tough game to win. I thought it was going to be kind of like us and them were like the two best teams in the league, and we play each other. But obviously, they kind of caught us off guard, and most people played bad. But we had some guys coming back from injury, like D'Anthony Melton came back. I think there was like we had like three guys that were injured, and they all came back that game, or a lot of them came back. So I don't know. I think it was like shaking off the rust kind of game. Like it's kind of fine that we don't win every single game, especially a tough game like that against the Cavs who are playing incredible. But I think it helped that D'Anthony Melton, like specifically, he got to kind of like play bad or kind of like play through like coming back from an injury, and then like against OKC, he played a little like he still had like moments, against OKC where you're kind of like you can kind of tell he just got back from an injury, but perhaps you can kind of like test like passing, test shooting, test all that just to kind of we're losing the game anyways. Might as well like try to get back in the groove of things, have a game.
Yeah,
So
I think luckily you mentioned D'Anthony Melton. I wanted to give him just talk about him a little bit. He against the Thunder, like you said, against the Cavs, not very there, getting the rust off, but against the Thunder, dude, he is very good. Like I really like him in this team. He's a great defensive asset. 3 steals against the Thunder, and 10 rebounds, 8 defensive rebounds, 2 of which are offensive, and 5 of 8 from downtown against the Thunder. That is huge. That is huge. Now, let's just check real quickly him like as a career. I mean, if Thomas was here, he'd be able to hit us with this. Like as a career, how has he been as a 3-point shooter? Like last season, he was 36%. With the Sixers, he was 39%. His best season was 2020. He was 41% from 3. But he's not. Point is, he's like a solid 3-point shooter. He's not elite. He's like hovering in the high 30s, low 40s range. So if he could bring that consistency for us this season, that would be huge. And we mentioned in episode 2 or 3 episodes ago, him being that defensive ability, that defensive process being there, it's
but
so
he was
nice
huge
because
against Shea. Him and GB2 were huge against Shea. I mean,
oh yeah,
they had a tough night last night.
yeah,
so,
sure. And Dre, I gotta really give that's the thing. Like we have dogs to throw at these guys now. You know what I mean? Last season we just didn't because Wiggins, like you mentioned earlier, was struggling defensively. Obviously, Klay Thompson wasn't just the same version of himself defensively. So we just had Dre and GP2, right? But GP2 is undersized. D'Anthony Melton.
He works well against some guys, but like Shea, I guess, was not the right matchup. Like maybe like a Jaw. I think Jaw, he did a pretty good job in the championship run. But
for sure.
Guys,
D'Anthony Melton also is undersized too, but or for our like undersized as in not like as a guard, but guarding like Shea, for example. He's also 6'3", which I didn't realize. But he is phenomenal. I really, really liked him against the Thunder. He was doing really well. I think kind of going back to the Cavs, just talking about my take. One thing was that if you're hot, right? Well, like obviously it's a cliche, but if you're hitting your shots, good offense always beats good defense, right? So in the Cavs, I mean, their starting 5 all had more than 5 points. On their bench, Caris LeVert had 20.
he destroyed us.
Oh, sorry, Ty Jerome had 20, which literally is like he couldn't miss a damn shot. And then like he was talking trash too a little bit to the bench.
It's all low though. I liked him when he was on the Warriors. He was like pretty fun.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was listening to the play-by-play because like I mentioned to you off the episode, I was driving at that time, stuck in traffic, Bay Area traffic. It's trash. And the play-by-play commentator, I'm forgetting his name, 95.7. He was talking about how he was talking trash to the bench, but he was kind of like, Ty Jerome looks at hits the 3, talks to the bench, but little does he, but unfortunately he doesn't remember that we gave him a shot when no one else in the league did. Like he kind of took it personal, you know what I mean? So hopefully it is love, but again, shooters are gonna shoot, and when they're hot, they're freaking hot. He was 7 for 8 overall field goal. He missed 1 shot, 3 for 3 from downtown. Evan Mobley, 23 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal. Isaac Okoro, 16 points. Darius Garland, 27 points. Like when he hit that shot where that circus shot and he got that and 1, I was like, yep, that is the summary for tonight. And then it's not our night. And then when Steph, on the other hand, hit the side of the backboard, I was like, yep, this is one of those nights. And as unfortunate as it is, It is what it is. I think no need to overreact. In 2022, our championship year, in the first round against the Grizzlies, we lost a 40
Like
plus point
40.
game.
Yeah, yeah.
But hey, guess what? We won the championship. So no need to overreact. But you have to kind of go back to the drawing board and be like, yo, why did this happen? We cannot just crumble. We cannot crumble. Albeit in the fourth quarter, we did take it down to an 18-point game, which
That
was
was all
promising.
pods. I think pods
That was
and
that
Melton.
was you're absolutely correct. It was all Pods and Melton. Pods had 14 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. He was 6 for 12 overall, 1 for 6 from downtown. Pods has been struggling this season a little bit from three. Moody, 11 points, 1 for 3 from downtown, 5 for 10 field goal. Melton, like I mentioned earlier, 10 points, 4 for 11, 2 for 6 downtown. Everyone else struggled. Healed. This was like a very bad game. This one is just like I think it's the start of his cool off a little bit.
Mhm.
3 points, 1 for 4 downtown. He only had 19 minutes. Kyle Anderson 4. Kaminga 21 points. He did play well, I think. He was the only one where I thought he had a little bit of control on his game. Like he was still getting to his shot a little bit.
Mhm.
He was 3 for 7 downtown, 7 for 14 field goal, 50% is pretty good. 21 points, 2 steals, 1 block, 5 assists. So he kind of had a solid game. It was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
solid
he
game for
did.
him for sure. So,
I
but
think it's
overall,
I think like overall it's good when like the team it's just a bad game from like most aspects. Like we kind of like
yeah,
Steph didn't have it going, Heald didn't have it going. Heald had one of his worst games, but there's still like bright spots a little bit. Like Pods had that mini comeback. Kaminga had a pretty solid game, but those guys can't win the game out by themselves,
for
unfortunately.
sure.
But it's good. It's good that they had like bright spots. Like okay, Kaminga can build off this, Pods can build off this, Milton can build
Yep,
off this, and then we're
yep,
stronger in the future. So
100%.
because
I will also have to say, yeah,
Steph and Jay aren't the guys that have to like prove anything. They have that. They know. Like,
yeah,
we all know who they are. It's the
yeah.
other guys that kind of have to prove themselves. So yeah,
But that's a really great point. Like they could afford to have a bad game.
yeah.
But Kaminga, Pods, Melton, these guys, they kind of have to kind of
It's
prove
just like
themselves. You're
it's a
absolutely right.
constant learning experience for them. Like always getting better through
Yeah,
mistakes. So
100%. Another thing I'd like to note before moving on to the final game of the 3 game stretch is that the fouls. We had 24 fouls to their 12. We had twice the amount of fouls. Um, the refs. I mean, I don't remember thinking. I don't remember seeing any foul and thinking, "Damn, that's like abysmal. What the hell? The refs are paid." But it does catch your eye, right? Like 24-12. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Cavs are shooting lights out on three, so that kind of explains that too. We weren't, so we were trying to go into the paint a little bit more. We were 31% from three as a team.
yeah.
Really, come on, guys. So they hit 24 of their 28 free throws. That wins you games. That will win you games.
Mhm.
If imagine they missed 18 of those free throws. We were down by 18 in the fourth. Imagine they missed 18 free throws like we missed against the Rockets.
That's the
It
game.
could be a
It's a
different
game all of
outcome.
a sudden. Yeah.
It's a game all of a sudden,
You have
right?
your starters in there. Yeah.
You put your
So
starters
anything can
in.
happen.
Hey, you don't know what happens, right? Maybe go to OT. Hey, maybe we lose in OT, but at least we freaking were there. We got the momentum, you know?
Mhm.
So it apologies. It's we really need to work on the free throws. Okay. The last game was the Thunder. Wes, takeaways, thoughts, reactions.
Yeah, I mean, so I was a little background. I went to this game last night with my dad, so a little birthday gift, and we actually won this time. Usually, when we go to these games, we've like lost. I think the only game we did win was Detroit last year, which is they're a bad team. So
Let's get it.
but every other game we're like 2-5, so that's good. But I think like it's definitely I think what everyone's going to be talking about is the Chet injury. Like now the OKC Thunder's championship ceiling is like it's just not there anymore. If Chet's not going to be the same player, even like once he comes back in like February or whatever, he's not going to be the same player. So that's unfortunate, but I think this kind of paves the way for the Warriors to like be that top dog in the West because I don't really see any other team that can like contend with us other than like maybe like the Nuggets or the Clippers. But I really like we got to see a lot of guys like shine this game. Like Melton played incredibly well. He hit like so many timely threes. I think it's important to have like outside of Steph, other guys that you're scared of hitting a shot. Like Buddy is one of those guys. I'm scared of him hitting shots if I'm the other team. Melton is one of those guys, and I'm scared of hitting shots. Trying to think of other guys. I mean, Kaminga can always get going. Wiggins can always get going. I think it's good to. We saw like a little bit of flashes from like everyone this game, and then of course like Steph He's just Steph. I think it was kind of sucked that they had a mini comeback at the end, and then Steph we had to keep the starters in a little longer than we would have wanted. But I mean, it's we didn't completely collapse like we probably would have last year. So and they played well. I really like the even without Chet, OKC's still like a dangerous team. Like they damn near came back on us, and they don't have their rim protector out there. So it's just like Kason Wallace, Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe is a Warriors killer. Shea, of course, their guy. So I mean, they're still a talented team, but I think the Warriors are we're kind of primed to take the West by storm. That's my main takeaway. So
Yeah, I think to kind of dive a little bit into the stats, we shot better than them. And if you shoot significantly better than a team, like the Cavs did against us, you will most likely win. I think it's a very simple recipe, right? We had 48.8% from three. They were 33.3% from three. We hit 60 out of their 23. They hit 21. Sorry, I'm looking at free throws. We hit 21 out of our 43. They hit 11 out of the 33. So they were struggling from the three. You mentioned that Chet was out, which is what makes me a little bit makes the loss of the win a little bit less juicy for me. Not to be like a negative Nancy. Obviously, it's a dub, and like you mentioned, dude, Shea, Isaiah Joe, these guys are killers. And they damn near came back. So it was a tough, gritty win, and I'm proud of the boys for that. But it makes it a little bit less just because Chet is such a crucial part to not only their defense, to their offense, but especially their defense. He is so big for them. So it does make me a little bit scared.
not big enough.
Not scared.
210 pounds. Not big enough.
Yeah, literally not big enough, right? But against essentially in this 3-game stretch, we beat two championship contenders, the Celtics and the Thunder, but they weren't fully healthy. And then the one team that was fully healthy, but is going through a historically hot start, which on a side note, I think for sure they're going to cool down. They absolutely will cool down. And I don't think they'll drop out of championship contention, perhaps. I still think they could be a contender. They're not pretenders for sure, but this crazy shooting starts, and I think they will cool down just because it's just such a long season, so much time to the playoffs. But hey, I would love for them to prove me wrong. I love the Cavs. They're young. They're gritty. So why did I say that? Because I was talking about shooting. Well, why did I mention
Who are the real deal championship?
Yeah. So I was mentioning about the one team that's actually super healthy and super hot. We lost very badly too. So that leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. But this was a great game overall from the team. Overall, it's very, very good. I wanted to give a shout out to Draymond because on the stats, he's not speaking much because his steals and blocks, he had 0 steals, 0 blocks. And he did have 8 points, 2 of 3 from downtown. He hit some nice threes and at some critical moments as well. However, the stats don't speak, but his play does. He was guarding Shea. He was guarding hard defenders. And when you guard a guy like Shea, you're not going to block him every time. You're not going to steal the ball from him. But guess what you're going to do? You're going to suffocate him. You're going to make him take a really tough shot and miss it. And that's exactly what Dre did. That's exactly what D'Anthony Melton did a lot of the times. Melton had 3 steals, like I mentioned. Kyle Anderson, you have to, you go ahead, you can shout him out.
Yeah, I mean, he's low-key. You wouldn't think that he'd be good for guarding Shea, but he actually does a pretty good job because he moves as slow as Shea. Shea's kind of shifty, so Kyle Anderson kind of matches energy in that department. And he's long, so it's kind of like the perfect recipe. He's not the best defender on it, but he does a pretty solid job that you wouldn't think.
Yeah. Yep. Overall, like I said, everyone in the team did very solid, except for Paz. Unfortunately, he again struggling from 3, didn't get many minutes, 0 points. Don't like to see that. Moody also not super great. 1 for 4 from field, 1 for 3. But other than that, almost everyone played really well. Again, Healed, another game that also he kind of cooled. Again, one of those cool down games, right? Yeah. It's unfortunate we're kind of seeing it. He's cooling down. Hopefully, it's just
we're winning regardless. We're winning regardless.
Which is a good sign. Yes. That's a great point. I also do think that he's getting less minutes because Melton is back and Melton is playing well, obviously. So, and honestly, I would rather see more of Melton than Healed, just because Melton is a more consistent, reliable player. In what regard? Shooting, you have streaks, right? You're hot, you're cold, but defense is pretty consistent. And Milton has not like a super great inside game, but he kind of get to his spot a little bit.
I get what you
So
mean though.
you get what I mean, right? Shout
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I like Melton. Again, 19 points for Melton, 3 steals, 10 rebounds. Like, wow, that's great, dude. You freaking love that. I love that.
yeah, yeah.
Curry, this was a vintage Curry game. His first 30 plus point game for the season. Um, Beautiful. 36 points. He was 7 for 13 from downtown, 13 for 23 from the field. And in the beginning, he was struggling a little bit. I don't know if you remember, Wes, he threw some like turnovers. Like he was trying to do some fancy pass, like one hand pass. He threw a turnover or two.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, damn, man, lock in, Steph. We need you this game, man. He pulled through. Wiggins, 18 points, man. Shout out him, dog. 1 block, 3 steals, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. The rebound game was great. We were really rebounding great. Again, Chet wasn't here, so if Chet's here, maybe
Yeah.
we lose a little bit more rebounds. But Trace, 2 points, only 5 minutes, which is interesting because he wasn't injured. I think it was just because Chet was out. Is that why? So
Well, in
we
my
just went.
opinion, I think it's like all matchup based, and like in some situations you want Trace out there for when you're playing like a Jokic or something like a bigger body. But
Yeah,
OKC, especially with Chet out, they're just like switching everything. They're all a bunch of small,
exactly,
fast guards.
exactly.
So you don't really want Trace out
Yeah, so
there.
we didn't want Trace there. Yep, makes sense.
Yeah.
So we didn't have him there. Our next games, now that we went over it, now it starts the NBA Cup, which uh, obviously
Ours.
it's gonna be fun, but it doesn't really mean much.
Yeah.
What I do hope the guys go out there and play with the same intensity. Keep that momentum going. Don't just cool down, right? We beat the Thunder. We had an abysmal loss against the Cavs, but we bounced back against the Thunder. We're playing against the Mavericks tomorrow at 7 p.m. Then on Friday, we're playing against the Grizzlies, 7 p.m. again. And then the following Monday, it's a regular season back, we're playing against the Clippers. So we're going to see you guys after the Grizzlies match on Friday.
Mhm.
We'll go over the NBA Cup, see how that's going, see the NBA Cup vibes. Hopefully, our third member, our Tree
Hopefully he's back.
Musketeers, he's back, hopefully. So, uh, good signs for the Warriors.
Mhm.
Promising scenes. I think last season at this point, we already had like 2 Cope episodes. Cope
Yeah.
episode number 2. The season is still alive while we were just. It was just so frustrating. Like that was that feeling we had where it was like, dude, this is just
We
horrible.
just won the championship, and it was kind of
Literally,
like,
and it was it just yeah.
Oh, wait.
That was a
oh wait,
no. That was not. We won
Okay,
the
so the year-
21-22 season, right?
yeah. So 22-23, we just lost to
Yeah.
the Kings, or lost to the Lakers. Lost to the Lakers in
Yep.
the second
Oh
round.
God, the Western Conference Finals. Yeah. So, sorry, not Western Conference Finals, in just the Western in the
Semis.
second
Yeah.
round. Yeah. So this was because like how we played against the Cavs is kind of how it felt like every game last season. It was just kind of like, dude, not do anything. Like, god damn. So beautiful sights, and we're gonna catch you guys next weekend. Peace.